Hey, I'm Margaret Rohde. I'm the Conservation Manager for Wissahickon Trails, and I'm out here today on the Green Ribbon Trail beside the Wissahickon Creek. And while I'm out here, I'm going to take a look around for spring ephemerals. So these are special wildflowers that are only up around this time of year. In the deciduous forest, there's not a lot of time in which the forest floor itself receives sunlight, so it's really only from late autumn till the early spring, so essentially when there's no leaves on the trees. That produces this unique herbaceous layer called spring ephemerals. These are the flowers that have to take advantage of that narrow window of time in which the forest floor does have sunlight. So they have to come up, they have to produce flowers, they have to be pollinated and produce seeds in a relatively short amount of time. The fact that they're only around for a little while makes them kind of special. So I hope that when you get out on the trail, you'll be able to spot some of these and take advantage of seeing them when they're here. This is a spring beauty. It's got 5 white petals and pink streaking on the inside. Thin, narrow green leaves. They often grow in little clusters like this. And they don't get much taller than these ones, which are just maybe like 4 or 5 inches off the ground, but that's enough for them to be found by the pollinators that they rely on for pollination. And among those are solitary bees, which seek out spring beauties almost solely for their pollen. There's some little May-apples starting to come up. Their leaves are barely unfurling. These are named for the flowers that are going to come out and peak in May. Every part of this plant, the seeds, the leaves, and the roots are poisonous. Despite that, Native Americans used to use the roots as a cathartic. And when it develops a fruit later in the season, that part of it is edible, but you have to be really careful about the timing of when you collect it. This is a plant that is everywhere, sadly. It's Lesser Sallandine. It's an invasive species. It really loves floodplains and areas like this along the trail. Plants like this are one of the threats to spring ephemerals because they come up even earlier than those spring ephemerals and shade them out and compete with them for resources. So that is really a big problem. This is a difficult plant to get rid of. It's spread by underground bulbs, so eradication is really a challenge. This is an exciting find. This is Bloodroot. It's another spring ephemeral. Got beautiful white petals. Sort of a blue-green, really interestingly shaped leaf. It's called Bloodroot because its sap contained in the leaves and the stems looks like blood when it runs, and that sap makes it unpalatable to deer, which is pretty cool because, you know, all of our native plants are being eaten by deer. Here's another very early spring ephemeral, the Trout Lily, which this one is only just coming up, so it doesn't have the lily, which it will develop later in the year, which is going to be a really pretty yellow flower. It was named Trout Lily partly because it comes out and blooms during trout season, but also because of this leaf here that reminds one of the side of a brook trout. One of the cool things about spring ephemerals is that their seeds are dispersed by ants, which is called myrmecoccary. So the ants are attracted to fatty appendages on the seeds, and they will take the seeds down into their nests where their larvae will feed off of those lipid-rich fatty appendages, and it doesn't harm the seed, and then the rest of the seed is thrown into a midden, which is basically like a little compost pile, and the seed will stay safe in that little compost pile over winter, and then come spring, it has perfect conditions for germination. Very, very cool. Now, one ant colony I think can collect like 1,000 seeds in one season, which is a lot, and that's great. Interestingly though, they don't travel very far, so seeds are only planted about 2 meters or like 6 feet from the parent plant, which means that unlike other species of plants that are spread by birds and other means, spring ephemerals and things that are spread by ants their populations are very contained, which means that habitat fragmentation is a big problem for them. So that's just another reason why it's really important to protect and preserve natural lands, because once those plant populations are gone from an area, they very rarely make it back.